it's Vicki again, and I want to talk to you about the 3 portals that open the doors to the spirit world. We mentioned them in a previous video: gratitude, seeing, and blessing. And what I want to do right now is I want to define those a little more for you. Gratitude is a feeling of having an open heart and being thankful for the things that you have. The mind actually creates your life for you. And so it's so much easier to have a long list of things we don't have and the things that we want. Because there are a bazillion things in the universe that we could have and would love to have. And so it tends to be weighted more towards things we don't have because there's so many of them. And so we tend to forget to think about what we do have and to count our blessings. And so gratitude is extremely important to proactively practice gratitude in your life, because if you're thinking of what you don't have and saying, I don't have this and I really need this and I really want this, the universe does hear that and creates want for you, and it creates need for you, because it is a reflection. And the universe will reflect that for you. In a previous video, we talked about mirror consciousness. You want to understand that that mirror consciousness is very, very real. So when you practice gratitude, when you think constantly about the things you have to be thankful for, and you keep your mind in that space, well, then the universe begins to reflect more of that. More of the good things, more of the things you do have, more of the things you're happy about. And it is so much easier to notice the things we don't have because there are a bazillion of those. But we have a lot of things to be thankful for if we just start making a list. And so a good thing to do would be just to make a list every day of 10 things you have to be thankful for. It could be very simple things like, I'm thankful I awoke this morning. I'm thankful that I can walk. When you see a person in a wheelchair, just say to yourself, gee, I'm really thankful I have the use of my legs. You know, just look around you and see the things going on with other people, and your problems will seem to be a lot less oftentimes. A second portal that opens the gates to the spirit world so that your good can flow in is seeing. Seeing is one of the concepts that's a little harder to understand. It means seeing clearly, seeing truly, seeing truth. And it means seeing without judgment. And so we spoke about this a little bit in a previous video, but it's really about seeing is the kind of thing where when you were a small child you made a mistake and you might have felt really embarrassed and guilty and humiliated and think you're a really bad person, but when you look back on yourself, you know, you're an adult and now you look back on that, you're thinking, oh, wasn't I cute? So you're really seeing the innocence in it. So learning to see other people as innocent really takes some practice, and it really takes some skill. Later on we'll be putting some exercises and tools and stuff on the website that you can use to practice that. It's very hard to look at your ex and say that person's innocent, isn't it? That has to do with the fact that the internal predator and the pain body wants to keep that in place. So as we learn to work and use and understand the 8 pillars of the Manifest Inerra, we will begin to see more clearly the big picture. And that ultimately everyone has that innocent part of themselves, and that ultimately we are bringing into our life what is in our subconscious and perceiving people as guilty, which ultimately makes them guilty. It's a convoluted type of way of looking at the world, but as you work with the 8 pillars, it will begin to broaden and open up your mind and your perceptions. And when your perceptions change, because the universe is a mirror of your subconscious, when your perceptions change, reality begins to shift. So learning to see clearly, learning to, they call it forgiving, but there's really a lot more to it than just forgiving. It's a way of seeing, and that's why it's called seeing. And so as you work on the 8 pillars and bring them into clarity in your mind and in your life, you will begin to understand more what seeing is, and it will become a very powerful tool in your life, and it will begin to help goodness flow into your life and power flow into your life from the spirit world. The third one is blessing. Sometimes we think about blessing like only a priest can bless something. But everybody can bless something. You can wish people well, and you can bless things. You can, for example, if you're having people over for dinner, when you walk into the house with groceries, you can say, bless this entryway as people come in today to share a loving space and to share good times. So it's like being attuned to the blessings in your life is similar to gratitude, but it's more, instead of recognition, it's more of an action. It's more of a unseen force that you apply. So as you begin to use these three, gratitude, blessing, and seeing, it will begin to empower your life. It will have an effect on the other 7 pillars of the Manifest Inerra, and you'll notice as you go through using them that your understanding increases, your ability to manifest good things increases, and your ability to understand and use the other 7 pillars becomes more powerful and more clear.